Good evening, people seeking info on how to be happy. Um, Last time we looked at things you can do to alleviate depression. I want to continue with this. I want to talk about some things that you probably should not do, and they may surprise you. One is going to be dead obvious. You really, let's just say that mood altering over the counter substances such as alcohol, and I can't speak for cannabis, I've never tried it, so I don't know. But any other pharmaceutical of that kind which has narcotic side effects is probably best avoided, just to be on the safe side. I personally don't do drugs, and I never have, and I've no desire to do so, mainly because what goes on in here is like let's just say that in a previous version of me writes something between science fiction and horror fiction, and there's a lot going on in there. I write music, so I don't want to tamper with that at all. That would be dangerous. However, getting back on track, things which other people have alleged make them happy or blissful or chilled out, those things, they report doing it when their biochemistry is normal and balanced. But when your biochemistry is depleted, using the garden or the farmer's field or the empty petrol tank, gas tank analogy, when you are all out of juice, out of resources, you're depleted, you don't know what the effect is going to be, and I would hazard a guess that it's probably not worth experimenting just in case it's bad. The second thing that you probably would be better off avoiding is music. And I'm only speaking my experiences when I was a teenager. I used to listen to a particular track. It was rock music. It was called One of These Days by Pink Floyd. And when I wasn't depressed, it's very exhilarating music. It's almost like you're flying. But then sometimes I'd come home from school and I'd put it on and I'd be depressed. And it was push you over the edge. And it's not the only form of music that does that. I found a lot of music which can seem upbeat or not just upbeat but neutral sometimes, or uplifting. When you're depressed, you tune into different parts, different aspects of the music. You hear the tone in the singer's voice. You hear the shift of the chords, which you're not aware of normally because you're focusing on the drums and the bass or whatever. And this is just in rock music. Same would apply in hip hop, I would imagine. So be pretty careful. The whole point about music, and the reason why it's used in films, is because of its emotional impact, its ability to manipulate emotions. If you watch scenes which have made you very emotional in films and you get them on streaming or whatever, however you view them, and you turn the sound down, without the violins or whatever it is they use to make you suddenly feel a surge of emotion, it's very, very different. It has no effect whatsoever. So tread very, very carefully. there are probably certain other things that are best avoided, one of which would be you probably don't wish to mingle with certain people. Yeah, people who, misery loves company. And I know that when you are feeling sad, down, or whatever, it can be a natural thing to actually phone certain people, get in touch with them on the basis that they've been good friends. But it's probably better to sort of time out and watch some comedy, make yourself laugh, get those endorphins, change your biochemistry. This does work. I used to be a teacher, and one of the first things you ever did in a class was, if everybody was scared or whatever, you got an activity going as lively as possible to lift the mood. It was called elevating the mood. Yeah, so you got everybody's spirits up. And now when they got all these kind of little biochemicals going in their head, and they thought, oh, this is going to be a fun class, you could hit them with the boring stuff. And it took about 20-25 minutes for that chemistry in the class to calm down again, to the point where they suddenly realized that actually this is not quite so much fun, but they didn't notice. It's a very effective technique, and you can work it on yourself. All right, so avoid alcohol, avoid the wrong kind of music. Definitely, my personal recommendation, avoid drugs. That does not include medicine if you've been given medicine. And try and, avoid the wrong kind of people, and avoid your own company as well, Misery does love company, but it likes the right kind of company. And it doesn't like loneliness. And solitude, there's a difference between solitude and loneliness. And when you're on your own, suddenly solitude becomes loneliness. Okay. I'm going to end it there. I'm going to continue this because depression is a big, big subject, and it's a byproduct of stress, but it also leads back into more stress. So until next time, good evening, and here's to your emotional happiness.